Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome again back to the Earth, our Mudfossil Gaia. So today, this is part 2 of Monster Slayer. If you haven't seen part 1, I would suggest you go back and watch that, because this is a continuation, and there are a few things I explain in that video that you might not understand in this one. So if you haven't already watched that, go check out that video. So today, this is the Apache telling is where I'm going to start of the hero twins. Now, they start not with Yeitso, but they start with the second monster, the elk or Delgyed. He's more like a horned monster or dragon. And so we'll start there. And then they go on to Shiprock after that. And a few more. And so I'll see how far I get with this one. This might go into a part 3, because there's a lot to show you guys. These stories are so detailed and just incredible. So this is going to be a fun one. So this website here, legendsofamerica.com, I find a lot of the myths and legends that I tell you guys here on this. And this is where I found the one I'm going to be reading to you guys today. This is the Apache telling of the Monster Slayers. Killing of the Monsters, an Apache myth. Nayat Nizgani, a Yakrila creator god, came where elk had been killing people. He could not get near it, although he tried to approach it from every side. Then another person came to him to be his partner. "My companion," he said, "I will gnaw off the hair on his breast for you." Having done this, he returned, saying, "Now go to him." Nayat Nizgani went to him, made motions 4 times, and then shot him. He hid in one of the holes that his partner had made. The elk broke out the uppermost hole. Nayat Nizgani went into the next hole. The elk broke out that also. He then went into Mother, which elk also broke out. He went into the bottom tunnel. Just as elk broke this out, he fell down dead. The partner then came up to him and said, "The breast will be mine." Nayat Nizgani skinned it and took the hide. He also chopped off one of the horns. He filled 2 of the blood vessels with blood and spread out the hide in the sun until it was dry. So after they slew that second monster, elk, who also happens to be a dragon, he goes on to slay what they call the rock monster birds. These rock monster birds lived up on what we now know as Shiprock. Okay, so this is another Apache legend, which, I don't know, I find it really strange that it's the same tribe. You know, the Apache have the story of the horned monster and the monster slayers there, right? And born of water and born of lightning. Well, this story is the one where they actually refer to who would be Yeitso as a dragon. And so this is the story that I really wanted to share with you guys. This is the one that all the dots line up exactly like in the Yeitso story of the Navajo telling. And I'll show you the similarities. So let me read this story to you first, and then I'll show you why I could not figure out if Yaitzo was a dragon or a human or both. Origins of the Apache Indians. From Geronimo, His Own Story, by S. M. Barrett, 1905. In the beginning, the world was covered with darkness. There was no sun, no day. The perpetual night had no moon or stars. There were, however, all manner of beasts and birds. Among the beasts were many hideous, nameless monsters, as well as dragons, lions, tigers, wolves, foxes, beavers, rabbits, squirrels, rats, mice, and all manner of creeping things such as lizards and serpents. Mankind could not prosper under such conditions, for the beasts and serpents destroyed all human offspring. All creatures had the power of speech and were gifted with reason. There were two tribes of creatures, the birds, or the feathered tribe, and the beasts. The former were organized wider, their chief the eagle. These tribes often held councils, and the birds wanted light admitted. This the beasts repeatedly refused to do. Finally, the birds made war against the beasts. The beasts were armed with clubs, but the eagle had taught his tribe to use bows and arrows. The serpents were so wise that they could not be killed. One took refuge in a particular cliff of a mountain in Arizona. His eyes, that changed into a brilliant stone, may be seen in that rock to this day. The bears, when killed, would each be changed into several other bears, so that the more bears that the feathered tribe killed, the more there were. The dragon could not be killed either, for he was covered with 4 coats of horny scales, and the arrows would not penetrate these. One of the most hideous, vile monsters was proof against arrows, so the eagle flew up high in the air with a round white stone and let it fall on this monster's head, killing him instantly. This was such a good service that the stone was called sacred. They fought for many days, but at last the birds won the victory. After this war was over, although some evil beasts remained, the birds were able to control the councils and light was admitted. Then mankind could live and prosper. The eagle was chief in this good fight, therefore his feathers were worn by man as emblems of wisdom, justice, and power. Among the few human beings that were still yet alive was a woman who had been blessed with many children, but these had always been destroyed by the beasts. If by any means she succeeded in eluding the others, the dragon, who was very wise and very evil, would come himself and eat her babies. After many years, a son of the rainstorm was born to her, and she dug for him a deep cave. The entrance to this cave she closed, and over the spot built a campfire. This concealed the baby's hiding place and kept him warm. Every day she would remove the fire and descend into the cave where the child's bed was, to nurse him. Then she would return and rebuild the campfire. Frequently the dragon would come and question her, but she would say, "I have no more children, you have eaten them all." When the child was larger, he would not always stay in the cave, for sometimes he wanted to run and play. Once the dragon saw his tracks. Now this perplexed and enraged the old dragon, for he could not find the hiding place of the boy. But he said that he would destroy the mother if she did not reveal the child's hiding place. His poor mother was very much troubled. She could not give up her child, but she knew the power and cunning of the dragon, therefore she lived in constant fear. Soon after this, the boy said that he wished to go hunting. The mother would not give her consent. She told him of the dragon, the wolves, and the serpents, but he said, "Tomorrow I will go." At the boy's request, his uncle, who was the only man then living, made a little bow and some arrows for him. and the two went hunting the next day. They trailed the deer far up the mountain, and finally the boy killed a buck. His uncle showed him how to dress the deer and broil the meat. They broiled 2 hindquarters, one the child and one for his uncle. When the meat was done, they placed it on some bushes to cool. Just then, the huge form of the dragon appeared. The child was not afraid, but his uncle was so dumb with fright that he did not speak or move. The dragon took the boy's parcel of meat and went aside with it. He placed the meat on another bush and seated himself beside it. Then he said, "This is the child I have been seeking. Boy, you are nice and fat, so when I have eaten this venison, I shall eat you." The boy said, "No, you shall not eat me, and you shall not eat that meat." He walked over to where the dragon sat and took the meat back to his own seat. The dragon said, "I like your courage, but you are foolish. What do you think you could do?" "Well," said the boy, "I can do enough to protect myself, as you may find out." Then the dragon took the meat again, and then the boy retook it. 4 times in all, the dragon took the meat, and after the 4th time, the boy replaced the meat. He said, "Dragon, will you fight me?" The dragon said, "Yes, in whatever way you like." The boy said, "I will stand 100 paces distant from you, and you may have 4 shots at me with your bow and arrows, provided that you will then exchange places with me and give me 4 shots." "Good," said the dragon. "Stand up." Then the dragon took his bow, which was made of a large pine tree. He took 4 arrows from his quiver. They were made of young pine tree saplings, and each arrow was 20 feet in length. He took deliberate aim, but just as the arrow left the bow, the boy made a peculiar sound and leaped into the air. Immediately, the arrow was shivered into 1,000 splinters, and the boy was seen standing on the top of a bright rainbow over the spot where the dragon's aim had been directed. Soon the rainbow was gone, and the boy was standing on the ground again. 4 times this was repeated, and then the boy said, "Dragon, stand here. It is my time to shoot." The dragon said, "All right, your little arrows cannot pierce my first coat of horn, and I have 3 other coats. Shoot away." The boy shot an arrow, striking the dragon just over the heart, and 1 coat of the great horny scales fell to the ground. The next shot another coat, and then another, and the dragon's heart was exposed. Then the dragon trembled, but could not move. Before the 4th arrow was shot by the boy said, "Uncle, you are dumb with fear. You have not moved. Come here or the dragon will fall on you." His uncle ran toward him. Then he sped the 4th arrow with true aim, and it pierced the dragon's heart. With a tremendous roar, the dragon rolled down the mountainside, down 4 precipices into the canyon below. Immediately, storm clouds swept the mountains, lightning flashed, thunder rolled, and rain poured. When the rainstorm had passed, far down in the canyon below, they could see fragments of the huge body of the dragon lying among the rocks, and the bones of this dragon may still be found there today. This boy's name was Apache. Usen taught him how to prepare herbs for medicine, how to hunt, and how to fight. He was the first chief of the Indians and wore the eagle's feathers, the sign of justice, wisdom, and power. To him and his people, as they were created, Usen gave homes in the land of the West. I just love that story. So here in this video, I'll leave a link for the video. I'm not going to play it, but I'll explain to you. He's telling the story of Yeitso. And in this story, it's the Navajo telling of it. It was the first version that I read you. When this, okay, so this giant here is supposed to be Yeitso. And when Changing Woman had the twins, what she would do was she dug a hole for the twins and she hid them in the hole and would build a campfire over that hole. And in this story, Yeitso, who would come to her trying to get the babies, was a human. And in the one that I just read you, he does the same thing, only it's a dragon, and Changing Woman, or the woman that the dragon is coming to, only has the one child that she's hiding. So that brings up a whole nother theory about the twins and their reoccurrence all through history on every continent. These beloved twain show up over and over again, and that brings up a whole nother theory of exactly who these twins could be. Now for the fun part. So this dragon or elk or Delgyet, the second monster that they slay, I think this big guy here is him. But in the story that I just told you guys, there was another dragon in the beginning of the story that they say is in Arizona, and you can see him here still today. Well, there's a few dragons here in Arizona. There's one right here, and I think they took the label off. On one of my videos, I show they actually labeled this as a red dragon. I'll try to find that and throw that clip in there for you. But it looks like they took the labeling off because I can't get it to pop up again. But that is supposed to be a dragon. That is the red dragon. It's a real popular place to go climb over by Flagstaff. I'll throw in some clips of pictures I found of people that have actually climbed it. And I wonder, I can't get a good enough picture of the side of it here. But I wonder if that eye spot is like crystallized, just like it says in the story. Very cool. I mean, look at this right here. The way that those crevices go, you know. Very biological. Very cool. So there's one little dragon on the side of a mountain I know of in Arizona. There's another one right over here. Here he is. Right there. And why do I think it's a dragon? Other than, you know, it looks like a dragon's head right here. He's his mouth, an eye, and a wing up here, and a wing up here. But when you click on the picture, dragon's back. That's what they call it. They dug a tunnel right through him. Now, I know that this up here is Sunset Volcano, or Sunset Crater. Like, there is a giant volcano here. I know that. There is lots of lava everywhere. I know that. But this brings up the question again. Exactly what are volcanoes? And what really is lava? Because when you look here, this is really strange. Right here looks like regular lava flow, right? All messy and looks like it flowed, right? But what is this thing? Is there a different type of magma that came up from just this one specific little crater here? Because that is very strange. It does not look like the rest of the lava around it. And it has feet and a tail and a head and an eye. Look, there's a foot and a foot. There's an eyeball right here. The snout, all the right parts in all the right places. Right? Isn't that strange? I know it's supposed to be a lava flow, but that's not like the rest of the lava around the area. And it's over here in this area where we find the petroglyph of the fire-breathing dragon that I think is probably, well, gosh, it could have been they could have been depicting any of these, you know, but you'll find that petroglyph right up in here, and here's the dragon right here, the Delgyet dragon, the big horned monster. And when we look right here where his heart should be, in both of those stories, he was shot directly in the heart. And it even looks like skin here was peeled away or gnawed off. Just like he said in the story, he gnawed off the hair on his chest so that he could shoot him in the heart. Isn't that strange that there's this big bare spot right where his heart should be? And it kind of looks like one of his horns might have been broken also. He broke one of the horns and he filled it with blood for the next part of the story that I'm going to tell you guys, where he goes on to ship rock to fight the rock monster birds. As always, thanks for watching. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Make sure that bell is ringing so you'll be notified when part 3 comes out and I tell you guys the story of Ship Rock.